I love you guys.
Welcome to the Torg Stories podcast. In this episode, Ann and I are discussing what makes home, role models, and if we have a responsibility to use our talents. These topics were sparked by the Ted Lasso season 4 premiere and the entire season of Widow's Bay. And in the Ted Lasso premiere, Coach Lasso has everyone give a 30-second update of what's been going on in their lives. He didn't let them talk about work. Give us a 30-second update.
I hate that, actually. Yeah. I'm with them. Nothing's going on. Just life.
They said a lot. You got to do better. It's been my goal for maybe years to try to get you to provide more detail. Like when you say that Widow's Bay is funny, and I try to get a detail out of you. I know more. I can say things about your life that you didn't even mention there. What's happening? What's coming up?
I would say in the last week, the big thing that happened is I have to have a colonoscopy.
Oh,
so I had to schedule a colonoscopy, which I'm not thrilled about. Man, and I scheduled it and it's at 1:15, which means I can't eat the day before or that day.
Oh my gosh.
That's a long time without eating. You can eat Jell-O the day before. So I guess I'll just have a diet of Jell-O. I don't know. I'm not worried about the colonoscopy. I feel like it'll be fine.
I've had one colonoscopy.
I have too.
Yeah. Here's my short colonoscopy story. I can't quite remember how this part happened. Oh, I know. As I went in, we had kids. I did the colonoscopy by myself. Megan dropped me off at the place. She was going to come get me. And when I went in there, I was supposed to give them Megan's number for them to call her when I was done.
Right.
I was done and I was recovering and my phone rang and it was the place. And I had given them my phone number instead of Megan's phone number.
Nice.
And then I had to call Megan on the colonoscopy high. Two more things. I know you're a listener to the Bill Simmons podcast. First of all, there's Joe House, his buddy, who thinks the whole experience of getting a colonoscopy should be something that you do for fun.
Yeah, I don't know why it's fun, unless you think of it as a cleanse, I guess.
He really enjoys the high, whatever they
get.
get.
I don't remember a high. I had a colonoscopy back when I was probably, 30, 35 or something.
It's a thing where, you're not out and you don't really remember it that well. And you're somehow having a tube up your butt is no longer a problem.
Right. Yeah. I've been knocked out before. I've had a couple of surgeries and I've never felt like a high afterwards. I've just felt like, oh, I'm awake now.
No, but I'm saying you're awake. You're having conversations, I think, during the colonoscopy. At least I don't
know about conversations. I don't think I had a conversation.
There was a lot of talking in mine.
All right. Well, maybe different people. Maybe you have a little trouble getting knocked out. I feel like when I get knocked out, bam, I'm out.
Okay. And then famous to us, Jaylen Brown got traded from the Celtics when Bill Simmons was getting
when he was doing a colonoscopy. So that's pretty funny. I think it's healthy to have a colonoscopy. Colon cancer, one of the secret killers of young people now. It's pretty crazy. So get a colonoscopy. It's no big deal.
So other updates that I know about. You're going to Vegas.
Right. I'm going to Vegas just for a night. That's not a big deal, though.
Yeah, but it's an update.
Going to do it for my birthday. I think I'm going to put 100 on Colts making the Super Bowl, which I know is a real long shot.
I meant to text you. You had a little scoffing chuckle about me betting the Panthers to make the playoffs. And after the podcast was over, I thought, and the Panthers made the playoffs last year. The Colts did not.
I know, but I still think of the Colts as a better team. I do.
Yeah, they probably
are. Stupid, maybe. Right. And the receivers, I think, are having problems. Like Alex Pierce hasn't practiced yet. And the other receiver maybe pulled his groin. So probably not a good outlook, but I like making a bet for them. And I think I'll make a bet for the Pacers. I don't know how far. I'm going to say maybe like European East Coast champions or something like that.
Yeah, I remember I went Eastern Conference Finals, and that still had pretty long odds.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah. Because I don't feel really confident, but I feel like, hey, they might be in there. I like to make, a little bit of a long shot bet.
I've watched the last two Fever games and really enjoyed them.
Did you? There's so much. For some reason, I have it on my Twitter. Like when you hit the not your following, but the other side. I don't know, for you page or whatever. I
Yeah.
get so many evil women's basketball tweets, and it's like I just can't take it anymore. What's wrong with you people? Like the controversies are just too much. It's like get off it. Who cares?
Yeah, I'm on a streak now, and he keeps texting me every week. So I'll bring up Dave Witzig again.
Okay.
This is like 4 or 5 in a row. Dave, by the way, is driving across the country, 7 people in a van. I think his 4 kids and a spouse. They're driving all the way to Portland and then drive.
Adult children.
This is from Illinois. Adult children, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe the youngest is going to be a senior.
Still pretty
So
old
they drove
kids.
from
Yeah.
Illinois to Portland, and then they're driving the coast and back. That's too many people.
Just for fun.
Yeah, well, I think they have family on a couple stops. That's too many people in the van, probably, right?
I think so. I think 5 or 6 in a van is probably enough. It depends on the van, I guess. They don't really have the kind of vans that we had back in the 80s, those conversion vans with TVs and
Yeah.
little tables in the middle. Now they're more like cargo vans. So I don't know.
And they have those. They have like those Mercedes. Yeah, I don't know what his. I don't know what his van
Sprinter.
looks
I mean,
like.
does he have a Sprinter van? That would be pretty
But
fancy.
Dave said he doesn't watch the W because it's so political.
They do make it overly political, I
I
think.
do
Yeah.
think that some of that is thrust upon them.
Yeah. I think people expect more out of women for everything. It's like we have to do everything. It's ridiculous to me. We have to be the ones making all the trans rights. I don't see any pressure on the NBA for trans rights, all that crap. Racial politics should be much higher in the NBA. What are we even talking about? So, yeah, I think all the pressure is put on women for some reason. And it's because a lot of people don't even want to put that pressure on there just to make it controversial.
I think that
Men sportscasters, I think in general, yeah.
I think the players in the W have historically been more willing to speak up in a way that NBA players
Right.
have not been. However, if you ask LeBron James about trans rights, trans women playing in the NBA, that's not really a thing. It's not.
Right, exactly. And
it's a-
that should kind of illuminate the whole controversy to me.
It's a
but whatever, let's
question
not get on
mostly
it,
for
yeah.
anybody involved in women's sports. You coach,
Right.
yeah. So that's why they get it more. And then there's just a lot of projection onto Caitlin Clark or onto Asia Wilson, et cetera. Anyway, really exciting games. Overtime, incredible loss in overtime to the Aces, where Caitlin Clark missed 2 free throws. If she makes either one, they win in regulation. She missed them both. Kelsey Mitchell missed a free throw. Asia Wilson engulfed Caitlin on the forced a turnover to get the game-winning 3. So it was really exciting. And then they beat Chicago.
Oh, well, great.
Yeah.
I haven't been
so,
watching. But
So I'm back in. I'm a little bit more hooked. Okay, Em, my life update. We're not moving very quickly on the schedule
no,
today.
go for it. What's your
All
life
right.
update?
I guess Megan called it a tree limb that fell and almost hit her house,
Oh, that would have been a catastrophe. Yeah.
part of which, little lighter parts of it landed on our heating cooling units that caused no damage. But when you call it a tree limb, this tree limb is bigger than many trees on our property.
Right. So a major part of a tree.
Yeah. Scared everybody in the house when it fell. We
At
got
night, or what was it?
No, it was the afternoon.
Oh, well, at least you weren't asleep.
Yeah, I was on the treadmill. The girls were in Iz's room, and it fell right by her room. So we got that cleaned up. No bites on the sale of our house. No interest.
No interest. Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. I read in a little, I don't know if it was a Twitter controversy. You know how those Twitter accounts tweet stupid things just to make you engage.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the top reselling markets because of an overbuy on Airbnbs was Beach Mountain. Like they're trying to get rid of all the properties they bought in Beach Mountain.
There's a lot for sale in Beach Mountain for sure,
Yeah.
which
It's
is
like
different.
People bought too many properties. Yeah.
Charlotte worked the concert at Beach Mountain last night.
No, I have concerts
It's a
there.
long way up there. So it's like, okay, sure, it's hard to get to Boone, but when you're going to go to Beach Mountain, you're talking
Right. Yeah. It almost makes me car sick when we go.
It's another 7 or 8 miles of really curvy roads. We moved Charlotte's stuff into a residence hall at Lee's McRae yesterday, and then I am departing Tuesday for Salt Lake City.
Love a good road trip. I hope you have fun. You're not going to make any stops or anything, though. You're just gunning through.
Um, a few little stops. I mean, there are things like, oh, we're going to drive by the Arch in St. Louis. Um, there's first night in Columbia, Missouri, which will be like just, and that one's kind of boring. Downtown Columbia. I've written down things like there's a giant Elvis holding a cross off the highway,
Oh,
little roadway stuff like that. And then Cheyenne, which will have a lot more to see. And then starting taking kind of an alternate route on the last day through some mountain passes instead of staying on the highway. And then, Ann, I don't even know if you know this happened. I'm going to start sharing each week an excerpt from the 40,000 or so words I wrote about the hurricane and Dad's passing. So, really nice response of a couple hundred people looking at that post, and then lots of emails and texts about Dad and Mom following that post.
oh, nice. I saw the post. I haven't read it yet, but
So, look for part two, the day Dad broke his hip, coming
right.
out this week. Oh, by the way,
Crazy.
oh, and I told you yesterday was the 2 year
Yeah,
anniversary.
2 year anniversary. It seems like I couldn't even remember what year it was. So 2024?
I
Yeah.
know. I mean, and I said to
The
you,
hurricane was
like
24 too?
24. What'd you say?
Yeah. 24 also? Yeah.
For what?
The hurricane?
Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Dad, he broke his hip on the 8th. 42 days later, he passed away. A couple days after that, was the
Hurricane.
hurricane and the funeral. So,
Right.
sharing that a little bit at a time. Thanks to everybody who reached out. Okay, and Ted Lasso, season 4, episode 1. It's titled Home. I asked you to ask what your expectations were. Let's go through your expectations for this episode and then kind of talk about whether that's what happened or didn't happen.
Okay. Let's do it. So my first expectation is explain how we're going to get back to England, right?
Mhm.
And I think this episode does do it. I think it was a little quick, like at the end, he just texts he thinks he's texting his ex-wife, but his son has the phone or something like that. And basically they immediately answer, yes, let's do it. So it
Mhm.
seemed pretty quick. They did put little things in the episode to signal that maybe everybody's not really happy in Kansas City. They had his ex-wife
Yeah,
talk
that's right.
about her stresses of her job. She didn't seem very happy in her job.
What
Who
does
knows
she
what she
seem to be? Is
does?
she like a high school teacher? She
Yeah, I
said,
was like, I have no idea. Why did you think she's a teacher? I had no idea what she did.
yeah, I knew she's on the faculty, but I don't think we've ever heard like faculty of what.
Oh, should I just say balcony? Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, I have no idea. I didn't even catch that. But she seemed frustrated about her job, and then their son seems to be frustrated with his um, club soccer skills, I guess, not being appreciated. Um, he
So we
doesn't
have
seem
this.
like an athletic little boy. I feel like it's miscast already, but maybe I shouldn't speak on a little boy's acting
Well, I
future.
think they probably, who knows, but I would guess they went and got him so he could play soccer a little bit.
I guess, yeah. Maybe he is better at soccer than I think, but just glancing at him, I don't think athlete,
Did
right?
you ever read? So in the car, Ted tells his son you're going to have a special group coming to watch him, and that's Rebecca who owns Richmond, that's Keeley who works PR, and that's Higgins who's what would you call him?
Like the operations general
Director
manager or
of football
something. Yeah.
operations, yeah. And so Ted's kid says, "Are you going to take it?" What did you think of what did he want when he asked his dad if he was going to take the job?
What do you mean? What did he want? He wanted to know if
I
his
guess
dad
I
was
would
considering the
say
job.
I think I read when he asked that question, I read his facial expression as concern, hoping his dad wouldn't take the job and leave. Now that the episode is over, sorry, it seemed like not great acting. There wasn't much to read there because we learn, in a day or two, if not the next day, that he does want his dad to take the job. So I think it wasn't great acting, I think.
Right. And maybe the boy is unsure if his dad takes the job, will he go or will he not go? Right. He doesn't know what his parents will decide whether or not he'll accompany his dad. I think as a boy or as a child, I can't speak as a boy, but as a child, you would be kind of scared to go, but you would also kind of be excited. Like that would be really cool.
Mm.
Your dad one thing I think, I don't know, we just don't talk about their dad, Ted Lasso, was a very successful head coach in the premiership of the English premiership
Yep.
men's team. He wouldn't even frankly be considering this job to be the women's head coach, first of all.
Right. I think the strand of believability, he quits his job to be by his family. And so he's not going to go be a coach in Paris or Florida or LA because he wants to be in Kansas City. I think when you make a point that he probably could get involved with the KC women's team. What are they? They're the not the
I have no
competence.
idea
Yeah,
what they
but
called them. Yeah.
I'll say more about
Competence.
them later.
It's not the
It's a
competence.
really weird the current.
Uh,
It's
I
a
don't, maybe the current that would
let's
be
see if I
better.
can. The only stadium built for women's soccer.
Right.
They
I
sold
figured that was
out.
true.
It
Yeah.
holds 11,000 people. It sold out every game match this year.
Right. They're called the current, by the way. Yes.
The
Kansas
current.
City Current.
Did I say
Uh,
current?
you did. You did.
Yeah.
Your second choice was current. Your first choice was competent, which was really a
I guess
ridiculous
another thing, I
choice.
mean, it reminds me, and of course, these are nowhere near the same things. Um, I was a tenured faculty member at St. John's. And I think using some of your logic, you would say, there's no way this guy's going to go be a high school teacher or he's going to go be a lecturer at App State when he's a tenured faculty member. But I did make decisions in
Actually,
those.
Bill, it actually does have connections, though.
Yeah.
You were a teacher, you were a coach. He's a grocery store manager. It just
Right.
doesn't make
Right.
any sense to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I'm saying. It seems like an odd choice to me.
I think the plot needed him to have a job that
He could leave really
that was
easily. Yeah.
meant nothing. Like you're,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, when we get into some of these other topics, okay, what else did you have on your expectations?
Basically, I do still expect this to be a big topic. How will his son adapt? You know, he's going to have to go to a new school in a different country. It's different than moving to Florida. You're going to be in a different country. But at the same time, I think it would be, depending on the child, it would be very exciting too. Um, and it would be just interesting to be a kid and suddenly be in England. I mean, that would be
Yeah,
pretty
one
interesting.
thing I had at the very end, which I'll bring up now because of what you're bringing up. Ted lives in a pretty run-of-the-mill, looks like the suburbs of Indianapolis condo where he works, let's say, 20 hours at a grocery store, where he sits on the sidelines with no control watching his son play soccer, and his ex-wife, who we take that he still loves, lives across town. And now all of them, the three of them, are moving to London, back to Richmond to start a new team. It's just such an exciting moment.
Right. It is an exciting moment. And I think maybe it would be scary too, but scary things are exciting. And if I was his ex wife and not in a current relationship with someone else, and I saw this opportunity for my son to have this exciting thing in his life, and I would also be like, oh, it would be kind of cool to live in England, you know, and is my ex husband going to pay my bills? Sure, I'll go. You know, I would be open to it.
She
So,
likes going to soccer matches.
right. She likes soccer. If she's in the educational field, she might be able to get a job somehow.
Well, they actually mention in season 3, as part of Rebecca's trying to get Ted to stay, talks about her connections and that she
Right. Exactly. She has great connections. She could probably get her a job. Yeah,
and get her
exactly.
son into a great school. And she said she could make him the highest paid coach in the premiership.
Exactly. Yeah. Now he can't be for the women's team.
Right.
I think it's a nice idea to have this focus on the women's team, but it also seems pretty unrealistic to me. If he was coming back to England, it would be, you know, think of how much a coach probably makes in the premiership, right? I mean, the
Sure.
men's premiership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that people take different opportunities for different reasons,
For sure.
and that he has relationships. Like he's not going to go run Roy out of being the head coach.
Right. And he doesn't seem to be hyper motivated by money. You know,
No, that's
he's
right.
not
And
that kind
Ted
of guy.
likes
Yeah.
Coach Lasso likes laying the groundwork of
He likes being a mentor to all these
Yeah.
people, whether old or young. Yeah.
right. Okay, so a couple things I wondered. I wondered who's so the first 3 seasons start and end with a tight shot on the same person's face. Do you remember
This
that?
season, no.
Yeah. So like I think season three started with Nate's face and ended with Nate's face.
Okay.
So we first three seasons we did that. This time it was a super tight shot on Ted's name tag.
Oh, okay.
So
I
are we going to
didn't
get
even.
some kind of name tag at the end?
I don't know. We'll have to, did they have they done this for every season or just
Yeah,
the third
all the
season?
first three
Oh,
seasons. Yeah.
maybe his name tag will say,
And
yeah, who knows what.
that revealed whose story arc was going to be prominent.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it has to be Ted. I think Ted makes sense this season. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I thought we might pick up action with Ted and his wife back together. I'm surprised they're not together already.
Right. I think they maybe saved it for a good storyline for this season. They're in
Yeah.
England by themselves. Um, they seem to be open to
It
it.
seems
So,
crazy
yeah.
to me, given the connections they had at the end of season three, that it's been 2 years and they're still not together.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I will say this, and um, this episode, Ted kind of annoyed me. His hyper
It was over the top at the
emotionalness.
beginning.
It was over the top, like he was acting like that. Like he's not. No one could be like that. So I would find that annoying if I was like with that guy. I'd be
Later,
like, would you just shut up? Would you complain once? I mean, what's your problem? Yeah.
when he's in the car with his kid, when he's sitting in the bleachers watching his kid play, when they go to the KC women's soccer match, he seems more like a person.
Right. Yeah. It's
In the
like,
opening, he's so goofy leading
yeah,
that
he's over
conversation.
the top. And obviously, it's like he's hiding some pain. And maybe that's what he's been doing this whole time. It's like, hello, being that like that isn't actually what you want to do. You want to show, um, your son's going to have frustrations and going to be upset and sad and angry sometimes. And you want to show that those emotions are okay and we have to
Right.
deal with those emotions. I don't need to paper it over with this ridiculous, over the top, sunny attitude. Yeah.
Two,
Anyway, I wouldn't find that attractive, is what I'm saying. So I'm with his ex being like, to keep some distance here.
two other things I think worth bringing up. How will they handle Jamie not being on the show? We can't tell yet. They brought up Roy, they didn't bring up Jamie.
Well, I don't think you have to handle it. You just don't have him on the show. He's playing for some other team, I think, is what happened.
We did see, you think he's playing for a different team.
I feel like I read an article that maybe they followed the first 4 episodes, and he's playing for like a big time team now.
Okay.
Like PSG or something.
And then will there be any reference? It wouldn't make sense yet. So Anthony had the actor who played Rebecca's ex-husband, Rupert Mannion, who was the evil Darth Vader character of, he passed away from pneumonia after the last season. Will they honor him? Will they bring him up? Will they refer to him? Nothing. I wonder.
Yeah, very sad. I don't know. I wonder. I do think they'll have a little dedication at the end of an episode or something, maybe. Maybe not, because they would have already done it, I would think, in the first episode. But yeah, sad. I like that guy. He was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was a great
He was great,
actor.
right?
Yeah.
And people talked about how sweet he was relative to
Yeah, he
his
seemed like a good guy.
nasty character. So I've heard Sudeikis talk about this. You brought it up. I do think it's going to be a major storyline. What's it like to coach women versus men?
Right. The more I thought that's an obvious storyline, but the more I thought about it, I thought Ted actually coached the men as women in a stereotypical
He
way.
coached in a way that would work pretty well, I believe.
He's emotional. His emotions were at the top thing to do, thing to discuss and be aware of. Nobody tried to hide it. He's very unmacho. He's very, hey, let's talk about our feelings. It's fine. So to me, he really was very he's not a screamer or a yeller. These are things that maybe don't adapt well to coaching women. So I feel like he's already there.
I got the sense that that Jason Sudeikis maybe coached his daughter's basketball team.
Maybe, yeah.
And the thing he brought, I know what I would say first, and then I heard what he said. And I think these are all super general. There's a million exceptions.
Right. Yeah.
And he talked about how how the girls really wanted to know why from him. I want you, he used the example of jump, but whatever. I want you to jump. Well, why do I have to jump? And that once he would explain the strategy of why they were doing what they were doing, then they were on board if they believed in his explanation. Um, Even though I've known some killers who will take you out, and you had some teammates like that. In general, a boys' basketball practice feels like a war where it's like, and if you're, a male in this case, you might get my playing time and I'm going to do everything I can to destroy you today. I'm going to knock you down. I'm going to be physical. I'm going to outfight you for every loose ball, whatever I need to do to show everyone that I'm better than you and to win. Whereas there are young women like that. A lot of them are more about the team and doing things for each other. So it has a less like kill the other person in practice feeling to me. Is that your experience?
I personally never felt antagonistic
Yeah,
or
right.
even competitive, I guess, with another person on my team. Like I wanted to destroy them. Maybe if I disliked them personally, I might feel like that a little bit. But
Yeah.
there were very few people like that. Most of them were my friends, and I wanted them to do well. And so, yeah, I would agree. I hate to say, oh, we're less competitive, but maybe me personally was less competitive. I don't
It
know.
was a little
But I
bit
always wanted to
more,
do well at the same time. Yeah.
it was a little bit more about, to me, it feels a little bit more about the social relationships, even though I know that one of the great things about being on any team, men's or women's, is like we go out to eat, we spend all this time together, we're on the
Right.
bus
Yeah.
together.
Men
Sure.
enjoy being teammates and friends too. I mean,
Right.
we can see people who aren't even teammates in the NBA, they're still great friends off season. They hang out and crap. So,
So I'm going to give you some pretty obvious predictions, but if they're wrong, it'll be fun to go back and point them out to me. You can give some if you want. I know you wrote a couple down. I expect Ted and his wife to be back together and for them to be going with him to London. So that's happening from the going to London together standpoint. It easily could have
yeah,
been
are
that
they going to
they,
live together? I wonder.
yeah, right. Good question.
Yeah.
I expect Roy and Keeley to get back together this season. I expect the Richmond team to advance to the next division uh, during the last episode.
Right. So I would definitely agree. I also wrote down Roy and Keeley get back together. It seems obvious to me. I felt like the breakup was a little bit of a misstep in the previous season of Ted Lasso. That's not what we want to see. Come on. They seem like people who should be together. Um, I think Ted is, you know what I do realize is they made a mention of the previous, of a coach of some sort, a woman coach that expected to be the head coach. So I think there's going to be some kind of friction between,
That's
and
really
she's
good.
going to be like the assistant coach now. And there's going to be friction between him and maybe some, man coaching women type friction. I'm a woman. Why can't I have
I
this
would say
job?
when
I've
I
done my
when I was
dues.
at Greenwood, um, there were only one or two people who thought I should be the coach. Hundreds who thought I shouldn't be the coach, and that included a lot of tension on the staff. So it was very much. I mean, at least for Ted. I mean, I assume Beard's going to be back at his side. For Ted to be able to walk in with Beard right next to him, that helps.
Right. I have seen cast photos like at the premiere and stuff, and there's a woman
Yeah,
who stands there with him,
right.
and I think she's the assistant coach, unless she's a star player or something. Maybe she is, but
No,
I
I think
assume
she
that she
is an
was the coach.
assistant,
Yeah.
and they can
Yeah.
have a
So I think
staff.
that's going to be a major thread.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll go quicker on this, and we're 45 minutes in, and we got a lot
Are
to
we
go.
really? Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right. Rebecca tells Ted sometimes home is a state of mind. So I don't know, Ann. Do people come up to you and say, "Where's home?" And what's your answer? And is that even tricky?
I say I live in LA. And then if they want further information, I say, well, I've lived here about 15 years, but I'm from the Midwest. I grew up in the Midwest, so I think of myself as a Midwestern person.
Hmm.
Uh, but I don't know if I'd be like home is Indiana. I don't know that I'd say that. And
Yeah.
I am not really I'm not super attached to home. I guess I would say that.
So you might be similar to Rebecca saying home is a state of mind.
Right. Home is a state of mind. When I arrive back in Los Angeles, I always think, oh, it's so great to be back home. I do think that.
I am thinking something different than when I made up the question because if I'm standing in Cheyenne where I will be standing this week and someone said, and I said I'm going home, I mean I'm going 7 miles. I mean the building I live outside of Boone.
Right. Yeah. You mean North
Yeah,
Carolina. Yeah.
right.
Um,
But
I feel
he's
like your
the show.
expectations for Cheyenne might be too high. I don't recall Cheyenne being that great. So just remember that.
Oh no, my expectations. I
It's
think
like planes. It's like,
I think Megan's would be um greater. I feel like I don't have that many expectations. I think that, the mountains 20 miles outside of Cheyenne toward Laramie, there'd be those, I think those would be some of the first impressive things we see. There's these places where people climb. No, I don't have really big
yeah,
expectations.
the actual town of Cheyenne. Yeah.
Right. I'm actually staying in a place just outside of town. I expect the big brightly painted boots. I expect the statue of some guy riding a horse in front of Cheyenne Frontier Days. Um, that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to keep that on.
Yeah. Thank you. Um, okay. So Coach Lasso runs into a former player who tells him he is the greatest role model of his life. Can you point to any role models?
No, I've always loved that question because I've never had a good answer. Even when we were in high school, they made me pick. Like if you were a good student, you had to pick
Yeah.
a mentor, and then you had a banquet about your mentor. And man, it was like, who the crap am I picking? So
Yeah.
I would say no,
And you
but
picked a
maybe
business
that's to my
teacher.
detriment. Yeah, because I liked her as a person.
A lot of these people, a lot of these people check in on the podcast, so I'm pretty conscious of who I put in and leave out.
Yeah,
Um, the thing I think Ted gives you is he believes in people. Um,
right,
but I'll go fast, and I didn't find it was sort of a okay. So Mike Miller, my 7 foot high school basketball coach,
right.
he just said to me, "You need to relax. You're going to start no matter what. As long as you keep playing hard, you're going to be out there as long as you can keep competing." And that really helped me a lot because
Oh,
I
great.
was really insecure about, I think I just played uptight in a way that he helped me relax. Kevin Zupin wrote me a really nice letter where he wrote out this story of where I wasn't even good. I mean, whatever. On the one hand, I would say I wasn't good at track. On the other hand, I was the MVP when I was a senior. I don't know. But anyway, it wasn't something I could do in college at all. But just the way I would always be the last person to leave the practice, and I would keep saying to him, "Let me long jump one more time, one more time, one more time," and that just would go on for an hour. And he would be like, "Geez, everyone's gone, and Bill's still here running down and trying to jump." And I've long gone past when I would have a chance to jump well because I'm tired.
Right. Yeah.
But he wrote me a letter about never losing that attitude. So those are like really short moments.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would say those are nice moments of advice, but it's not like they were your mentors. You know what I'm saying?
I know. So
Yeah.
then somebody like Joe Bentz, professor at Olivet, who I spent hours and hours and hours with, who was the first person I ever met who was working on a book. I think he would be a little bit more of a role model. And then I had people, sorry, this is sort of mean, but like Sam Watson was a professor at UNC Charlotte who did things like convince me to get involved with the National Writing Project. Another woman named Lil Brannon. I have more names here that I'm going to say. You can look at the Torg.com. A guy like Alan G, who spent hours and hours teaching me to read, but I also think didn't believe in me at all. I think he thought Bill's not very good. He's not going to amount to very much, but he still spent a lot of time with me and taught me a lot. So those are all kind of interesting.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe he would say it's surprising that I think he thought that, but I think that's what he thought.
Right. Yeah. It was your impression.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I can't bring up any professors, nothing. Yeah.
No, and I think one thing that's interesting here is all this stuff goes so much against how you are. For example, um, I think it's pretty clear in this episode there's something Ted can do, and he's not doing it. He has a talent to lead teams, to get them to believe in themselves, to help them work together, to create something that's greater than the sum of its parts. He's at a grocery store and he's not using his talents. That's not something you believe in at all.
No, I wouldn't say I don't believe in it. I would say some talents are more obvious, maybe, and I never felt like I had those kind of talents. Also, I would say I give some credit to coaches in the same way I give credit to critics. You know how people are like, "You're a critic, but you couldn't make a movie if someone gave you $1 million or whatever." And it's like, yeah, but critics play a great role and an interesting role, and I like it. And same for a coach. You couldn't star. I don't know, name a coach right now, some kind of fat coach or something. He couldn't. He
Andy
couldn't play.
Reid.
Yeah, Andy Reid
Bill
can't play
Belichick.
quarterback, but he knows what he's talking about, and he can guide and mentor somebody and help them be the best at something. And I think that's a great role. And I think if you're an athlete who recognizes that and accepts that, and those are all great things that go together. So I give coaches and mentors and critics a lot of credit. And when I hear some athletes say, "You couldn't do it," I want to say, "Don't be an ass. Don't be dumb." So I don't even know what that little speech was for, but I absolutely do believe in something like Ted, because when I see Ted, he's not really happy being a grocery store clerk.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Now, I do believe that there is a mentality where I should look up to people who work more than someone who doesn't work. And I don't believe in that at all. Now, I do think you should work enough to pay your bills and get by and everything. I'm not going to look good at someone laying on their couch who never even goes to work or who's late all the time or does a sloppy job. When I have a job, I do it to my best ability. And I guess that's what Ted's doing at the grocery store. He's doing a good job.
So was Ted born to coach?
Ted probably is born to coach and lead people. And also you can see that he gets a great satisfaction about doing it. I mean, he's even doing it to the bag boy at the grocery
nice.
place.
Good example.
So he's putting those efforts in on a lower level, but it does affect that boy, even though he did it in a really weird way.
It was a weird way.
The whole thing was really odd. Like, I'm not going to act like I steal something and think that's going to make the kid think he shouldn't steal. I'd be like, oh my God, Ted steals. It must be fine. That's what I would say, right?
And then would you say you were born to do anything?
No, I wouldn't say I was born to do anything. Did I waste things? Probably, for sure. Yeah. Did I have some potentials that I could have been much richer? I think me and you share the ability that we're pretty smart people and we do everything well, but boy, we do not know how to be rich. We cannot
I agree.
figure out how to make
I totally
money.
agree.
People with much lesser smarts make tons more money than us, but it's just not something we have. And actually, it's fine. I'm okay. It's fine.
I feel born to teach.
Oh, that's sweet.
Mostly, and I really think of it in terms of in my 20s, how comfortable and confident I feel in a classroom, and that could be the gym, versus how I feel running the register at the golf course or what other weird jobs working as a tree trimmer. That's a bad example. Just either the drudgery or incompetence I would feel at other jobs, but the confidence I feel going into a classroom, going into the gym.
Right. Now, I will say at my job, I do feel a great confidence. And I feel like if I was taken away, that things would suffer. And I do think I do my job better than anybody else. Hopefully no one else really listens to this, but I do my personal job better than anybody else in my firm, to me.
Yeah.
So, and I don't do it perfectly, of course not. So I don't feel a dissatisfaction about it at all. And I feel like it does play a place in the success of the company. So I don't feel like it's useless,
Right. So they want Ted to establish the culture he established with the men's team. I think the most famous of the cultures which we don't need to discuss, would be the Miami Heat culture. Just give me a couple criteria of Ted's culture. Just a couple.
I think treat each other with kindness and respect, and that would be your teammates, the people in your corporation or whatever you want to call it, the football officials that your general manager, your coach, your
Right.
president, whatever. Teach, and that includes like reporters, fans. Everybody treat with them respect. Be honest with your feelings and emotions. Try not to hurt anybody. I think that would be try to do your best and achieve your potential in your as an athlete. So that would be how I define the culture.
I think of the word becoming and just a focus on growth over winning.
Right. Winning is not the ultimate goal, but it's, of course, an important goal. Mm-hmm. It's what you're all doing.
And it's something that Beard...
But you want to do it in a certain way, right?
It's something that Beard and Ted debated at times in previous seasons.
Right.
Okay, I've got 3 golden lines. Sometimes it's fun to have you guess who said it in what context. We'll see how you do.
Okay.
I only have 3. First one. Coaches and dads have conflicting jobs.
Probably Ted Lasso when he's talking to the other coach.
Right. Rebecca says, why aren't you coaching your kids?
Oh, okay. Yeah. And he's
so it's interesting that I certainly agree that coaches and dads have conflicting jobs. I think the time I felt that most intensely is when I was the one who was making the decision that Isabel played 3 minutes.
Right.
Because you want to come home and just pump your kid up and that you believe in him. But, I believed in her, but I also only played her 3 minutes when she was a sophomore in the game. So that was very conflicting jobs, even though there's some more obvious ones that you would think of. Okay.
My father coached me in golf, and it was very low pressure stakes, and we had no conflicts because nobody cared about what anything was happening.
No, that was an interesting. Be organized, drive the van.
Yeah, you guys have no chance. Go out there.
2 more. If you don't care about your job, why should I?
That was the mom. It was pretty harsh, I thought. Man,
it was.
Mom laying down some truth. But yeah. Well, you can see everybody would be a little disappointed. My son was a premiership coach. To me, we're just not even talking about that enough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the biggest jobs in the entire world, especially in the sporting world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just walked away from it.
I think Sean Payton...
To become a grocery guy. Yeah.
I think Sean Payton... he got suspended from the NFL and then he went and coached high school football.
Right.
But that's not the same as he didn't go work at the grocery store.
And that's like you're being punished for something, or you had a series of bad seasons and you got fired. So yeah, now maybe you have to do something bad. But he was very successful. And it's not like he was 70 years old walking away from it, in glory.
All right. A couple more things with Ted Lasso. We got a lot of Kansas City, right?
We got a lot of Kansas City. Of course, Sudeikis must be from Kansas City, right?
Right.
It's funny when you mentioned Indianapolis and Kansas City together, because I thought to myself today when I was thinking about it on my walk, I thought Kansas City and Indianapolis seem the same to me.
They seem the same.
Clean, kind of a generic Midwestern city, right? It's not like St. Louis, because St. Louis you think a little rougher.
Yeah. So it was portrayed. It was portrayed as intensely cheerful.
Intensely cheerful.
You could see the Chiefs fans having a ton in common with the Colts fans.
Right. Exactly. Except the Chiefs got to win a lot more.
There's one other. Gates Barbecue. Gates Barbecue is real. I looked that up.
Yeah, the barbecue. I find it gross stripping on the dresses, but
you know what they did that I liked is a lot of the humor from early Ted Lasso came from Ted and Beard not understanding differences in day-to-day London life, the tube, etc. They reversed it in Kansas City, and this time it was the English people who didn't know what was going on. Like Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas. How many
Right,
cities are
which
there?
that confuses Americans, right? Americans
Yeah.
are confused on that too. The only time I've been to Kansas City, I think, was for your NAIA finals, right? Isn't that where it was?
Yeah, we did. We also the I think the home, at least back then, the home base of the Nazarene Church, I
Oh,
think,
okay.
was in Kansas City. And so we also, in addition to playing in the national tournament in Kansas City, NAI, we also played one winter, which was miserable, in a Nazarene basketball tournament.
Oh, okay. Well, my main memory of going there to watch the finals is that was the first time I ever went to Applebee's.
Oh, well, wow.
Kansas City,
What a
Missouri.
moment.
Yeah.
And
That's the only time I've
then
been there. Yeah.
there was a quite a bit of work on the Negro Baseball Museum in Kansas City, along with a lot of Title IX stuff. Title IX was on the wall of the women's soccer stadium, and there was a big shift in Higgins's attitude about having a women's team. So Higgins going to the Negro Baseball Museum kind of shifted him from being very concerned about the financial viability of having a women's team in London to thinking it was worth it.
Right. It was kind of odd though. It seemed shoehorned into me a little bit. Um, but it was interesting, and obviously it's a real museum, so it's kind of interesting that they shed some light on it, and that's nice. But it did seem a little shoehorned in there to me.
I think that it was also kind of a love letter to Kansas City from Sudeikis.
Right. Yeah.
Like, let's look
Exactly.
at the cool
Yeah.
parts of Kansas City. We didn't get Taylor Swift got a mention. We didn't get any Kelsey mentions.
Oh, we didn't. I didn't hear Taylor Swift just because
Uh,
she's
a
married to
Taylor
him.
Swift dancer went into that
Oh, right. What's that place called?
something moi, MOI,
Yeah, I can't remember.
dazzle me
But
moi, something
Dazzle
like
Me
that.
Moi, something like that. I did find it funny. I thought the funniest part of that was when she turned around,
Yeah,
Rebecca, and she had the little dazzle on her back. Uh, that woman really came across as Texan to me, but
yeah,
didn't
same.
seem more Texan than, yeah.
Yeah, she
Maybe
did.
Kansas City has some Texas elements to it. I don't know. So, uh,
So, Sudeikis and I played college
right. You and
basketball on a small
Sudeikis.
scale. We both follow women's sports fairly closely. We're pretty much the same age. Seems like we listen to the same music. He and I have both read Tex Winter's Triangle Offense book, which really narrows the circle. And then not such a narrow circle, but he did give the Fortnite Battle Bus a shout out.
He did. I heard the Fortnite Battle Bus. That was fun. I like that. Yeah.
Continued signals that me and Jason Sudeikis
You and Jason could
we
really
could find
hang. Yeah.
something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, if not just play Fortnite.
Play Fortnite. Talk
Yeah.
basketball.
Okay. I think this is the very last thing on Ted Lasso. The mom's garage sale, and I think you might be too young for this, really took me back to the Bill and Ogie Russell Winnemac garage sales.
But I felt like we had the garage sales and they would come over. No? Or am I just
No, they had them
instantly
in their
remembering it?
lawn on their side yard.
And
They
then we would bring our stuff.
they hand wrote prices
Right.
on pieces of paper and paper clip them to each item. But in the way that Ted's mom worked the tables and told lies, Bill and Ogie worked the tables as if you were at Russell's old trading post, and they were just nothing but sincerely helpful. But they were out in the yard. And thanks for stopping by. Are you looking for
I
a
do remember
particular?
our grandfather like negotiating with people. I do kind of remember that. Yeah. And my mom would just be like, sell it. Who cares? Just sell it. So I do. I always loved having the garage sales. They always
Yeah.
gave me little head tingles. I really enjoyed it.
They usually let us keep the money from our stuff.
Yeah, we always got money from it. I actually enjoyed the people looking at stuff, and actually, for being trying to say I'm a non-social person, I actually enjoy that part of retail when someone comes up and wants to buy something and we talk about it. Even when I worked retail, I enjoyed that.
I think that you and I both like functions and reasons for talking.
Right.
For
Yeah, just shooting
example,
crap. Yeah.
before the podcast, we talked a couple times a year at most, if ever.
Right.
But if we can have homework and if I can structure a conversation and we have a reason that we're going to talk, now we talk.
Right. Like when someone says, "What's new? What's in your life?" I'm going to say, "Nothing." Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Good grief. There's no updates.
Right.
We're taking a quick break from the episode so I can tell you about my novel, Love on the Big Screen. It tells the story of a college freshman whose understanding of love has been shaped by late 80s romantic comedies such as 16 Candles and Say Anything. The second edition is available on Amazon as a Kindle book for only 99 cents. You can get the paperback for $9.99. You can go to the Torg.com. You can link to the book on Amazon. You also can put your email in as a subscriber, and you can find all of our old podcast episodes. A couple other things we'd love for you to like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this podcast, maybe at someplace like Spotify. If you're feeling super generous, write us a podcast review on Apple Podcasts or write a review of my novel, Love on the Big Screen, on Amazon. Thank you so much. Back to the episode. Okay, Widow's Bay on Apple TV. We're sticking with Apple TV. And this is where I was pressing you for more details. I said, Anne, what were some strengths of Widow's Bay? I guess I'll give a quick premise.
We have already talked about this a little bit because I watched it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So it's an island. It's an island you got to take a ferry to. I don't think I see any planes. It certainly evokes the Cape Cod,
Right. I think about Cape Cod
Martha's
or
Vineyard,
Port or something. Yeah, Martha's Vineyard.
Nantucket. It evokes
Right.
like a rough for that, and then it's apparently cursed/haunted.
Cursed/haunted. The mayor's trying to get people, trying to popularize it into a Martha's Vineyard type place. But he's got kind of that kind of cast of small town weirdos who live there. And some believe in this curse very strongly, and many don't believe it exists.
So what did you say with the strengths of Widow's Bay? We both recommend it.
Well, first of all, I think the characters are the best strength to me. They're very specifically drawn, very well acted. I saw a lot of familiar faces, even though I couldn't really name their names, really. The head guy, you said you knew him from what? Where did you say you knew him?
Matthew Rise, I think is his name.
Reese. It's Reese.
He's
Welsh.
What did you say his name is?
Reese.
Reese.
You say RHYS is Reese.
Yeah. So
Reese.
he was a really nasty guy in The Beast in Me, which starred
Okay, I've never seen that. Claire Danes, yeah.
Yeah. It was good. And he looked sorry, Matthew. He looked so much worse in this.
Well, Matthew Reese is getting older.
Yeah.
Plus,
He
Matthew
looked older.
Reese, he starred, I believe, in Brothers and Sisters, which was a popular ABC show way back in the day. I never watched it, but I did watch him in The Americans, which was one of the best shows ever. Everyone should watch The Americans on FX, which is on Hulu now. And he co-starred with his now wife, who I love. I can't remember, Carrie something. I can't remember her last name. And she played Felicity way back in the day. If you remember Felicity, you probably don't. But anyway, they starred in The Americans together. They're terrific actors. They're still married to this day. Matthew Reese, he's very charming. He has, when you hear him speak in general, in his real life, he has that Welsh accent, which is just heart melting. So
give me a specific, when you
Reese.
say a character is specifically drawn, give me an example of one of the characters and what.
Okay, I think the older lady who works at the town is one of my favorite characters. I can't think of her name.
Is she the one who might have been the last descendant, or are you talking about the
No,
other?
she's the one who, no, not that one. She was good too, actually. But I'm talking about the one that gave the presentation on the genealogy.
Rosemary.
Okay, Rosemary is terrific.
She was terrific.
I've seen that actress before, but I can't tell you her name. She's a great actress, very specific. The whole crew in the workplace, I think, is very specific. That guy, I know that guy comedian, the
Jeff Hillard named.
Yes, Jeff Hillard. I've seen him for years.
He
but
is
I've
very
never
funny.
actually seen him, but I've seen him I've heard him on podcasts. I've seen him on skits, and he's terrific. He's very funny. And of course, I think the number one funniest is Patricia, right? The lead woman who works for the town. She's hilarious. She's, I think, the best thing about the show.
She was incredible.
And Stephen Root, of course, too, who is maybe the second most famous guy in the show, right?
And I guess he was in Office Space.
I do. I remember him from news radio the
I
most.
can't believe that's him in Office Space. He's the
Yeah,
guy,
he seems the same to me. Yeah,
the guy
I know
that
who he
gets
is. Yeah.
keeps getting moved. Now in
Yeah, I
his
don't remember
office.
Office Space that well, but he's very funny.
Yeah.
Uh, he's pretty well known actor. Like you've seen him in millions of sitcoms. You know, he's that guy.
It's a good show.
It's a good show. It's funny. It's dry humor. It's got a lot of horror tropes that they deal with. That's
Yeah.
funny.
So like one example I would give about it being funny, which is also connected to the horror tropes, is we get this the guy looks pretty much like Jason with the mask on. Um, and it's a slow motion chase. So Patricia is running as hard as she can, but she never gets away from this
She
guy
can't shake him. Yeah,
who's walking very, very, very slowly.
walking very slow. You think she could get away
And then
easily?
just so
Yeah,
you don't think this is stupid and not well done, it carries on so long that you know it's for sure on purpose supposed to be funny.
right. Exactly. Or
And the same way that
even
woman that you like, it seems like it's a literal 7 minutes when she does a genealogy on an overhead projection.
right.
It takes forever.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that's like not funny. And then it keeps going and going and going and going. And then you're like, geez, this is hilarious.
One of my favorite, I would say one of my favorite lines was when they're in the bunker and the Jeff Hillard character comes out and it like just screams, right? We're all going to die. I forget what he says exactly, but whatever he says is hilarious. I mean, they all look at him and they're like, what's wrong? Oh,
So
it's
the other
great.
thing I would say, yeah, a lot of those characters, I enjoy following them all around.
Yeah. Yeah. All of them. They're fun.
There wasn't, I mean, I think the kids were the most irritating to me.
The kid is most irritating. And I didn't love the flashback episode. I really like that actress, Betty Gilpin.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like that
Boy,
flashback
I
episode.
hate flashbacks, and they went back to the original founding of the village. And I gotta say, after 10 minutes, it totally won me over. And
Did it? Yeah.
the second flashback episode, I loved it, and I was totally sucked in.
I had trouble with the one that she starred in, but I think if I watched it again, maybe I'd be more into it. Yeah.
And then that guy, let's see, what's his name? He's the guy who founded the.
Yeah, I didn't realize, but it's Hamish is his name, right? And he was great. I've seen him in many things, but boy, I did not recognize him. And then somebody called out that that's who it was, and I was like, "What? Who did he play?" And they were like, "He played that old man, or the
I'm bummed
original
out
founding father."
I'm bummed out that I don't have his
His
name
name
in
is
front of me.
Hamish something.
So what's the now? So there's a period where he's like he seems like a demon.
Well, he's like
However,
possessed, maybe.
however, what's
Hamish
the
Linklater. Isn't
what's
that
the
his name?
worst thing he did, would you say? I like to ask that question. What's the worst thing he did?
Oh, you're gonna stretch my memory. I mean, he was kind of hurting his children. Did he kill his wife?
Ooh, he might have killed one wife. I
Yeah,
think,
I think he killed his first
you know,
wife.
what he did. I mean, I think the overarching lesson, not that it's trying to teach us this lesson, is it's better to die than make a deal with the devil.
Right. Yeah,
Just
that's
die,
rough.
you
Yeah.
know, starve, whatever it's going to be. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to do when it's your kids, but he made a deal with the devil. And because he had that deal, he had to do things like kill his wife and townspeople to
Right.
keep
The
it.
deal is basically to survive on the island. It's like you should have all just left the island at first.
I guess
Right.
I developed 5% empathy for him that I didn't have at the beginning. Oh, Richard Warren was the guy's name in the show.
Yeah, his name is Hamish Linklater, which I did know him, but I did not recognize
And
him.
then he
And
was
I did think it
funny.
has a spoiler alert. It had a nice twist at the end about who the last descendant really is that I think will really help with the second season. Right.
Another thing that worked great, which you just said, I was guessing all the way through,
Right.
and it didn't usually turn out like I thought.
Right. And the twist was almost the worst thing that could happen for the mayor. Right. So,
Oof.
yeah.
So the
Wasn't it great too with the old lady running up the stairs and just
yes,
being helpful?
that was all really funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, the sheer number of villains was very unusual.
In the show.
A lot
Okay.
of
Yeah.
times you only get the boogeyman and that's it.
Right.
We had the sea hag, we had the clown killer, we had the tentacled sea monster. Um, whatever happened when that girl you like got possessed by the book she read and threw the party?
That was great too. Did you love the DJ was playing it and he was like, "I can't purchase Pandora Premium."
Yeah.
You had commercials.
Megan loved that. Megan was laughing really loud. Also beautifully shot. We get to visit the Massachusetts coast. It looks great.
Right. Yeah. And I've never really been on an island like that. It kind of made me want to go.
Yeah. I mean, I went to Cape Cod. I think that
Cape
felt
Cod's an island. It's not connected to the
no, it's not
mainland.
connected. It is connected,
Oh,
but
it is.
it's very peninsular.
Remote. Yeah.
It's Key West.
Kind of like when we went to the shores of North Carolina. What are those called?
Yeah, the Outer Banks. Yeah,
The
it's
Outer
like
Banks.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much different. It would be a little like we've never gone to Martha's Vineyard. We've always been
That's an
close.
actual island.
Yeah. We've been
Okay.
out there and we're always like, oh, this ferry ride's so expensive. We're just going to go there for the day and
You're right.
putz
I
around.
think I'd probably be disappointed, but at the same time, I kind of want to experience it once.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Megan's always wanted to go and we usually end up not going because I'm like, oh, that much money for that much time.
The only experience I have with the New England coast is when we went to that little town that you took me to. And it had a little area of shops and boats. Where was that? What was that town? I enjoyed it. Was it Westport?
Oh,
Something like that.
it's like Mystic. You've been to Mystic, like Mystic
Right. It
Pizza.
was that same trip, but it was a different town, I thought. And then we went to a barbecue place. That's okay. Anyway,
You
that's
went
the
to
only
Newport.
sea
You
town
went
I've
to
been
Newport, Rhode Island too, or never?
No, I've been to Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah. No, Newport has that same vibe to it. We went to Cape Cod. We went all the way up the coast of Maine. So it feels that
You feel
way,
the New England way. Yeah.
even though being there on a boat is different.
Right. Yeah.
And you feel that way in Maui. I mean, it's not the same landscape or architecture, but you're like, woof, here we are.
You know what I would like to do out here, and I could do very easily, is take the ferry to Catalina Island.
Yeah. So we're gonna watch Ted Lasso. I think we can do Ted Lasso season 4, episode 2, and then just a road trip report from me.
Right, but it might not be over the weekend, right? Because you won't be home.
It probably won't be on Sunday. I'm driving maybe 6 hours on Saturday, and that'll leave me 13 on Sunday and Monday to teach on Tuesday.
Okay. So
So
whenever we get to it.
we'll see. We might do it early. We might do it a couple days late. So Ann, real quick,
One word, one thing I would like to say, even though the listeners won't know, I used the word Tony earlier before
right.
we started. I
Thank
looked it
you.
up and Bill was like, I've never heard this word. The word Tony is an adjective that means fashionable, upscale, elegant, or high class. Tony.
great. I look tonier than you. Did I use that right
Right, yeah.
today? Yeah,
Ooh,
not
you're
always.
Tony today. Yeah.
I do have Ted over my shoulder
I
and
see
the
him.
leave sign, so it's really appropriate now. And I started reading Lorne, the man who invented Saturday Night Live. I
Oh,
downloaded
that's right up
this.
your alley.
I downloaded the sample about a year ago. I started listening to the Amy Poehler Good Hang podcast.
I see clips of that.
I listened to the Fred Armisen one and the Tina Fey one and loved it. And I was like, okay, I'm reading the Lorne bio.
You're right. You love that Saturday Night Live stuff, so I think it's great.
All right. And you had two other things that you read or watched.
I read a science fiction book called Children of Time.
Ooh.
I don't. It was really weird. Like one chapter would be about these people in space. The next chapter would be in the mind of a spider civilization. So it was bizarre.
Yeah.
It was weird. These spiders were really smart. It was crazy. I don't know if I think it's a series. I'm not going to read anymore, I don't think. And then the other book I read, did not write it, was The King of Diamonds. Which
You
I
read
mentioned
2 books.
before. I read 2 books. One book, The Children, I actually read on the plane, so I read that a couple of weeks ago. The King of Diamonds, which I mentioned before, I really enjoyed it because it was about trying to catch a thief, but really it was about high-class Dallas society in the 50s and 60s, and I found it really interesting. Like, they really lived some lives out there in the oil booms and Kennedy getting shot. It had a lot of interesting stuff to it, so I'd recommend it.
I'll have to add our Amazon affiliate link.
Yeah, I added the link, but I thought he can replace that link with his Amazon link.
Yeah. I got some work to do before I leave.
Yeah.
Gonna go see our mother this afternoon. That's the plan.
Nice.
All right. And good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Smart takes the shot, and the Hoosiers with 3 seconds. Go ahead.
But what we found out is that each one of us is a brain and an athlete
And a basket case. A princess.
and a criminal. Does that answer your question?
I love you guys.